Welcome to the Trudy Lite Show with your host, international celebrity life coach to the stars, Trudy Lite.
Hi boys and girls. My millions of viewers all over the world and elsewhere write to me with all sorts of problems. Some trivial, some not so trivial, but rarely one that affects an entire nation. That's why I was so pleased to get this email from Yanis, who's in Athens.
Dear Madam Trudy, you're so wise with your international life coaching to the stars and your social commentary. I could think of no better person to ask. Can you help us to solve the financial crisis in Greece, please?
Well, Yanis, the first thing to say is that I am not a madam. Definitely not. That was all just a misunderstanding between the Vice Squad, me and David Attenborough's line producer. Although I've never been to Greece, I've always been intrigued by your Greek customs. You can certainly be inventive in your use of olive oil, that's for sure. Now, your question, I have to confess, was all Greek to me. So, I did 10 minutes in-depth research into Greece's economic problems. Or to put it another way, the economic problems in Greece, and I've identified the cause. Now, I don't want to get bogged down in the science, but it's all to do with macroeconomics. Instead of oily fish, your economy relies too much on tarama salata and hummus. Due to a worldwide fall in demand for these two products, Greece has suffered a double-dip recession. And then there's your language. 5,000 years ago, when you ruled the roost, everyone spoke Greek. But my millions of viewers all over the world and elsewhere don't understand your weird letters anymore. And some of them are Greek. And then there's those tired old Greek tragedies. I've seen enough of them to know they're short on laughs. Well, I only went once, and I slept all the way through it. But as my best friend Dita says, you don't have to go to the North Pole to know it's bloody cold there. That's why all the wildlife struggle so much and suffer from mental health problems, like those poor bipolar bears, all white, ferocious, and fluffy. Oh, where was I? Oh yes, Greek entertainment. It's all melodrama, misery and depression. So lighten up, Greece. Find some X Factor, or Omega Factor as you might call it. My next email is about a very different and far more serious problem. It's from Anne, who's in Stratford-on-Avon.
Dear Trudy, my husband and I are having difficulty deciding on the name of our baby daughter. I want to call her Rose, but he wants to call her Ruth. Ruth, I ask you, it's not even the name of a flower. What do you think, Trudy?
Well, Anne, I'll tell you what I think. I think you want to be a florist, that's what I think. Where's the logic in naming a baby girl after a flower? Flowers are decorative, but have no brains. Is that the sort of message you want to give your daughter in the 21st century? And millions of my viewers all over the world and elsewhere are naming their daughters after flowers. Soon we won't be able to move for roses, lilies, violets and violas. Hyacinths, camellias and dahlias. Daisies, jasmines, marigolds and pansies. Poppies, primroses, petunias, peonies. What next? Foxglove? Oh, imagine a fluffy little fox wearing gloves. Where was I? Oh yes, in 5 years' time when these girls reach school age, they'll have to be vaccinated against greenfly. Their classrooms will have to be made out of glass. For lunch they'll have to go and stand in a grow bag. OK, I'll stop defoliating that metaphor now. But Rose must be the worst name of all. Rose, like that thing on the end of a watering can spout. Rose, like Stephen Redgrave, he rose, or he did. Rows like you get in spreadsheets. Boring. Rose, as in rose from the toilet. You might just as well call your daughter lavatory and have done with it. Rose, fish eggs, yuck. There again, as Shakespeare said, what's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Yeah, right. By the way, Shakespeare went on to say, so Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo doth thy name, and for thy name, which is no part of thee, take all myself. Ah, isn't that wonderful? You know, before I became one of the world's leading international celebrity life coaches to the stars, I thought about being an actress. Or a spot welder. My best friend Dita's a very good actress, you know. She's always acting like I don't exist. But back to your question, what should you call your baby daughter? How about Ben? Like in Ben Nevis Windows, who make easily the best double glazing in... Actually, come to think of it, their payment hasn't come through this month, so they can go fuck themselves. Now, I have an important announcement to make. Or, to put it another way, I have to announce something important. Can you believe it? This is the last episode in our first season here on Amazon Prime. Which means that unless the sun has altered its trajectory, this is my 10th episode. Oh, don't worry, the sun hasn't altered its trajectory. It's still spinning happily on its axis, whizzing round the earth, same as ever. So I thought it might be fun to take a look back at some of the highlights of this first season. Who'd have thought when we set off all those weeks ago that me and my millions of viewers all over the world and elsewhere... Oh, that reminds me. Some smarty pants mathematician wrote to me the other day to say that 1 million is actually 1,000 times 1,000 or something. Really? Why be so technical? Talk about getting bogged down in the science. Everyone knows that 1 million is just an awful lot of viewers. And if these mathematicians are so clever, then how come they're still calculating pi after all these years? Pie? Pastry and a filling, that's about it, isn't it? So, what were the highlights of this first season? Well, oh boy, who could forget Meghan? She felt insecure in her relationship with Harry, so I explained to her the importance of trust in a relationship. Now she makes sure that Harry's arms are trussed and his legs are trussed and he's not going anywhere. Then, who could forget Françoise, who wrote to me from the southwest of France? When it turned out that her interest in white clean PVC clothing was shared with Pierre, I made them match and they were married. Françoise then wrote to me,
Trudy, c'est le jour de ma vie le plus beau. Merci bien, tu es un ange.
Who knew they talk like that in the southwest of France? Then, at Christmas, you'll remember that misunderstanding with the rectal thermometer and the nappies. Well, how was I to know he was an archbishop? Phew. Christmas is all over now, but I always try to be one wise Trudy, like the 3 wise men in that Bronze Age fairy tale. Were they really that wise, though? I mean, wasn't it a teeny bit selfish dropping everything on a whim to go and follow a star that close to Christmas? Their poor wives having to decorate the tree. And shopping doesn't do itself, does it? Back in those days, Amazon was a river in South America. Oh, I nearly forgot. The real highlight of this season for me. My restraining order has been lifted at last. Thanks, Dita. Now I have no worries when I leave the house. And talking of Paul Ryan, see you next time. And remember, keep it light.
If you've been affected by any of the issues in this program, Hold that thought, because the good news is we'll be back with Season 2 of the Trudy Lite Show very soon.